right, the first catering stop of my trip has been completed.
The sun, is just too much. I guess that's better. Probably not a better angle or view of me, but the best way I can check in with you. So I also got myself a little pick-me-up, much needed holiday season. I'm just preparing for my trip tomorrow, and it's a really easy trip. It's a turn or an out and back. And if you're not familiar with aviation terms, a turn or an out and back means you leave base, you go to a destination, and you return back to base. So no layover. It's a quick day trip. It's going to be super easy. My first flight is a ferry flight. Again, if you're not familiar with aviation terms, that means I have no passengers. And then my second flight, I bring passengers back. I'll keep it quick because I don't love this double chin, terrible angle of me right now. Virtual high five to anyone who can guess my next stop. I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, Whole Foods. And this is probably going to be my last home Whole Foods stop for catering because I have a supermarket, a brand new grocery store opening right down the street from my house. It looks so cute, like a little mom and pop shop. I'm sure it'll be just expensive as Whole Foods, but it seems like they're going to have great local products, and I'm really excited to start shopping there. So this might be my last time at this Whole Foods for a while anyway. I got like one of the last parking spots available. Everyone is doing their holiday shopping. I'm getting ready for my last trip of the year. It's a madhouse. Personally, I would not be at a supermarket right now doing any of this. I would be at home with the Christmas tree lit up, probably drinking my Starbucks coffee in front of my fireplace. But Mama has bills to pay, so here we are. So me, the pilots, and our maintenance crew and our scheduler already had our brief for our trip tomorrow. And we always do a brief and a debrief for all of the trips we take. So basically the format is maintenance is on the call in the beginning, and if the pilots had any issues with the previous flight, they would make it known, and then they ask if the flight attendants had any issues. And no issues, plane is functioning how it should be. It's a safe plane, knock on wood, I'll find some in the store. And then the pilots cover any NOTAMs, which means notice to airmen, and weather issues. And weather is gonna be pretty terrible tomorrow. They anticipate that I'll probably be seated the majority of both flights, just due to wind shear, and bumps. Flying in the winter, it's bound to happen. Then the flight attendant gets to give some input, and I basically just covered like what I will be ordering for catering just to make sure it's good with the pilots, because happy pilots equal happy flights. You got to take care of the guys who are flying the plane. Then our schedulers or dispatchers confirm whether rental cars are confirmed, hotel information, ground transportation, all that sort of stuff. So we don't have any passengers that we're dropping off on a layover or a vacation or a business meeting. We're picking passengers up. So we didn't have to verify any of that info because now we're taking passengers back home. And then it's basically just a wrap up. So it was a quick call today. Like I said, it's a very easy flight. And now I'm just debating, and I wish I would have filmed this earlier so I could have gotten your input, but I'm wondering, should I make a Christmas wreath charcuterie or a Christmas candy cane caprese salad? I'm gonna see if there's enough rosemary available to make the Christmas wreath. That might be the only thing holding me back from wanting to go that direction. But either way, I have festive plates for my flight tomorrow, and I'll show you what I pick up. Okay, so I will be making the Christmas wreath because Whole Foods doesn't have any basil. So that answers that question for me. How cute is this key lime pie that I found? I do have one gluten-free passenger tomorrow, and this is gluten-free. You can see that right here. So this will be the perfect individual treat for my passenger, while the other guests have the cranberry bliss bars that I picked up from Starbucks. And I also got whipped cream and mint, so I can spruce it up and make it look prettier than just this packaged key lime pie. This just looks like a disaster waiting to happen. Hello, good morning. It's time to fly. It's my last trip of the year. I just did a food run for me and the guys. I picked up smoothies for us and sandwiches. We have that ferry flight, so I only had to worry about feeding the crew. We did our brief yesterday, and I explained what the brief is that we do before each of our flights, but then we had a text exchange, and we decided to get to the airport a little bit early and land earlier than what was originally scheduled. So we'll have like 2 hours of free time a little mini layover. And we're just doing that in case our passengers decide that they do want to leave early. This way we're not scrambling to get there and scrambling to get the plane ready and all of that. So we'll have a little downtime. I'm sure stop number one will be coffee because a caffeinated crew is the best crew. And we'll probably go to lunch. So I'll take you now to our hangar and on our private jet, and we'll have a nice fun ferry flight. So I'm here early and I'm doing a little promo before we get flying. Just had our little brief. I will have to be seated the entire flight. It's supposed to be really bumpy, so buckle up. Well, we landed. It was very bumpy, but we're here. One more leg, and then I'm off for the year. Sure how much you can hear. We're currently flying back home with no passengers. Today turned out to be kind of a disaster. I'll check in with you on the ground because, like I said, don't know how much you can hear really loud on this plane, but the view is nice. Here's the deal. I did not get ready for the day. I don't plan on getting ready for the day. It's the weekend. I want to be comfortable. I hope this Snapchat filter does the trick. As you saw, there was a little change of plans, a little change of the schedule. After we had landed, we were notified that one of our passengers came in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID. So after discussion between the pilots and the group of people who we were planning on transporting, it was decided by the people who came in contact with the COVID positive person that they didn't want to risk transferring COVID or potentially getting anybody else sick, so they canceled the flight home. That's why I ferried a flight, and then I ferried a flight home, and I worked an entire day as a private jet flight attendant with absolutely no passengers. So flight attendant life is always crazy. You always have to be on your toes. You never know what's going to happen. And the day of that trip was just the perfect example of that happening. Never did I think I would work an entire day with no passengers. So I do thank you for coming along. That was my last trip of last year. My first trip of this year is coming up. I'll be taking you along with me. Thank you again for watching. Please make sure to leave me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This way you don't miss out on any of those future flight attendant videos. I hope you all had a very wonderful new year, and I'll talk with you next week.